Something else that's also going to court is a teacher and a case which once again has been falling foul of what you might call the LGBT plus brigade. Caroline Farrow is with us, Catholic journalist and commentator. Caroline, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
This is a story about a woman who worked in a school, farmer's school in Fairford, Gloucestershire, who was fired effectively, she says, because she put a Facebook post up in which she was sort of questioning the way that some of the teaching was going, right?
Yes, so 5 years ago, Christy Higgs, she put a post up on her Facebook page and she shared a petition, and one of the petitions she shared was actually a link to my organisation. Right. Now, this was at a time when relationships and sex education was about to be introduced, made compulsory for all children in primary schools. And Christy put two posts on her Facebook page. One was a link to a petition saying, please don't make compulsory teaching of LGBT plus all of this compulsory in primary schools, and she described it as brainwashing. And she also talked about the fact that gender identity was being introduced into primary schools. Now, as a result of these two posts that she put on Facebook, she was then sacked from her position as a teaching assistant at school. She took it to employment tribunal. They upheld her sacking. And then she went back again and they said, well, okay, she's still, you know, her beliefs are protected in law, but she still shouldn't have put it on Facebook, and, you know, upheld, basically that was then upheld. So now she's going back to the Court of Appeal again, and this is crucial for freedom of speech, to argue that actually she should not have been dismissed. And interestingly, she's got quite a few different organisations, including like the Free Speech Union, who are making interventions in her case. I think the crucial thing to notice about this case is that when Christy put the posts on her Facebook page, she did so in her maiden name. Right. So it wasn't linked to her main name. The posts were, her Facebook was private. It was limited to 100 people. And she said nothing about, she didn't attack her school or her employer. She just said, please, can we not introduce this teaching into schools? And because the school ruled that, well, actually, people might think you are homophobic and transphobic, you can't now work in our school. This is really discriminatory. Without thinking about, actually, it was discriminatory against her and her own personal Christian beliefs. And I think this is a really key case because it's going to determine to what extent can an employer determine what you write on your private social media. And what you believe in as well, because the school, I believe, have said that they didn't fire her because of her religious beliefs, but they fired her because of the language used in the post. But the language doesn't sound terrible to me. She used the word brainwashing. Is that the language they mean? Well, quite. And of course, the programme that she was protesting about has been hugely controversial. You know, it introduces children to the idea that biological sex is something that you can choose and that you can change. And of course, you know, this is, the Cass Review has now, thinking has moved on. The Cass Review has said that children shouldn't actually sort of be indoctrinated into this ideology. And the last Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, and the Conservative government ruled in Christie's favour because they said parents ought to have a right to be able to see what their children are being taught in schools. And of course, this was one of the things that Christie was objecting to, that your child could be taught all sorts of egregious notions about sex and gender, and you as a parent would have no right to see what they were being taught, let alone object.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary stuff. Well, the case goes to court on Wednesday, so we'll keep a close eye on it. Maybe speak to you the following morning, if that's possible. Caroline, thank you very much indeed. Caroline Farrow there, Catholic journalist and commentator about this case, which goes to court, the High Court, this week on Wednesday.